That's my boy Jonathan David. Get in there. Early goal. That's it, Cavallini. Get in there. Yeah, boy. Yeah. 3-0. Ooh, hat trick by Cavallini. Sweet. Nice. The second half is going to be fire as well. That's right, Hoylett. Get in there. I like using this boy Jonathan David, man. He's nice on the ball. Yeah, get in there. Oh, 6. I think I could give Cuba 7. Oh, yes, hat trick. Woo, my boy Jonathan David, man. He's on fire. 7-0. What a trashing, man. Canada 7, Cuba 0. It was like FIFA on easy mode. Mexico 7, Cuba 0. It was like FIFA on easy mode as well. Martinique 3, Cuba 0. FIFA on semi-pro mode. But the Cuban team has conceded 17 goals at the 2019 CONCACAF Gold Cup and scored none. They are officially the worst team at the tournament. With a goal difference of -17, 0 points, they will pack their bags and head back to Cuba, or maybe most of them will defect in the USA. As for Canada, it seems like they are a small team bully. They bullied Martinique in their first match, and I think Martinique deserved a better result than that. They played better than that, but Canada rummed to a 4-0 victory. When they met a better team in Mexico, they were shown up. They lost the game 3-1. Even though they did rotate their team, still, you lost to a better opponent. And then they played a lesser opponent in Cuba, and they took advantage of them once again. So Canada has scored 12 goals at the 2019 Gold Cup so far, with Jonathan David scoring 5, Lucas Cavallini scoring 4. In terms of individual accolades, the Canadians have done quite well. But does a 7-0 margin versus Cuba and a 4-0 win against Martinique measure this Canadian team properly? Because they're runners-up in Group A, and they will most likely play Costa Rica, who I think may go on to top Group B. But before we talk about the potential meeting between Canada and Costa Rica, let's just recap this 7-0 thrashing of Cuba. We had Jonathan David scoring a hat-trick in the 3rd, 71st, and 77th minute, and Lucas Cavallini also scoring one in the 21st, 43rd, and during injury time in the first half. We also saw Junior Hoylett chipping in with one in the 50th minute. 7 Canada, 0 Cuba. Cuba had numerous chances on their own to score, but their end product was so terrible. They were so terrible. They couldn't even score a goal if you left it wide open without the goalie. That's how bad the Cubans were in terms of finishing. The Canadian team did look good in the game, and it's quite expected of John Herdman's men because you're playing Cuba, a team you're supposed to beat. But I think they allowed the Cubans to get behind them on too many occasions. That shows us that this Canadian defense will be very, very vulnerable versus better quality oppositions. I also have to criticize this Canadian team for not scoring more as well. It could have been 9 or 10, but maybe I'm exaggerating, but it could have been more. Lucas Cavallini also missed a penalty. I think he should have let Jonathan David take the penalty since it was him who was taken down for it. Hoylett had a good game. Arfield had a good game. Alphonso Davies played as a fullback, which I don't really understand. Godinho had a good game. Boyan hardly had anything to do in goal because the Cubans refused to test him. And Morgan, Millar, and Miller also had nice cameos off the bench. As for Cuba, man, they weren't so good in the game. They did not keep the ball for long periods, and when they had it, they give it away. And when they had a looking at goal, I think they pulled the trigger way too early. It's like they were saying to themselves, listen, man, I have the ball, I have a chance to shoot, I'm gonna shoot. It doesn't matter how far out from goal I am right now. I'm gonna try to score this goal. But all in all, the Cubans were poor. Overall, at the 2019 Gold Cup, they were the worst team. I'm not gonna be kind here because definitely they were. As for stats in the game, Canada had 25 shots at goal with 14 on target. 64% possession, 614 passes with an 88% pass completion. They committed 11 fouls. As for Cuba, they had 10 shots at goal, 2 on target, 36% of the possession, 352 passes with a 79% pass accuracy. They committed 14 fouls and picked up 3 yellow cards. After a while, I really got sorry for the Cubans, especially when the camera was on their manager. He looked so sad. He was probably saying to himself like, oh my God, what's going on with my team? But it's fair to say that I'm glad it's Cuba and not my country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because if that was St. Vincent, man, we would have been embarrassed even worse. It would have been like 10 and 12 and 13-0. And not to bash the team ain't that good. Hence the reason why they are not at the Gold Cup. So it's better it be Cuba than my nation, St. Vincent. So Canada will move on to the quarterfinals to face one of Costa Rica or Haiti. I think they will prefer to play Haiti, but Costa Rica, they will prove to be a very formidable opponent for the Canadians. But then again, Canada has warmed up very well in the group. 7-0 versus Cuba, 4-0 versus Martinique, and they tried versus Mexico. My man of the match has to go to Jonathan David. I think he was really good in the game, creatively and in terms of his finishing ability. So let's move on to the next fixture, Mexico versus Martinique. That one was really exciting as well, and a little bit more even. Tata Martino made changes coming into this game once again. He played a 4-3-3 formation with Orozco in goal, replacing Ochoa, Navarro, Montes, Salcedo, and Gallardo at the back. In the middle of the field, Guardado coming back, Rodriguez, Alvarez, and up top, Antuna, Jimenez, and Alvarado. As for Mario Bucali, he fielded the strongest possible 11 he could for Martinique because they came out to play. They didn't come out to lay down and get steamrolled by Mexico. They meant business. Mexico scored first to a left-footed shot by Uriel Antuna, but Martinique weren't playing too bad up until that point. The game was 1-0 to Mexico at halftime, but early in the second half, Martinique equalized through a brilliant direct free kick by Passemont. That has to be one of the best goals of the tournament so far. So with Martinique equalizing, I was like, yeah boy, we get in a game here, but Mexico took the lead once again. I think with Martinique scoring that goal, they got a bit excited and continued to commit men forward, and they left themselves open at the back. But you can't blame them. Being 1-1 against Mexico, of course you're gonna have to go for the win, because if Martinique wanted to qualify for the second round, they had to defeat Mexico by a huge margin in order to get a better goal difference than them and Canada, and that was quite impossible. That was impossible because Canada has a very, very good goal difference, and Mexico does as well. So Martinique, they tried, but they left themselves vulnerable. Mexico's second goal was scored by Raul Jimenez in the 61st minute. 10 minutes later, Navarro doubled Mexico's lead when he scored in the 71st minute, but Martinique wasn't finished there. They pegged one back in the 84th minute when a really nice delivery came in and Delem headed it past Orozco in goal. The game finished 2-3 in favor of Mexico, but Martinique would have walked away from that match with their heads held high because they played really well. They were impressive. They weren't too bad in their 4-0 loss against Canada. They just did not take their opportunities. Then they smashed Cuba 3-0, and here they put on a really good showing versus a good Mexico team. Not the strongest Mexican team, but it is still a good Mexican team with very talented players. As for stats in the game, Martinique had 8 shots at goal with 3 on target, 33% of the possession, 277 passes, 75% pass completion. They committed 12 fouls and picked up 3 yellow cards. As for Mexico, they had 25 shots at goal with 10 on target. You have to commend the Martinique goalkeeper because he pulled off some big saves. Similar to the Cuban goalkeeper, I did forget to mention that despite Canada scoring 7, the Cuban goalkeeper was okay. He did pull off some big saves, just like the Martinique keeper Chavez. So 25 shots, 10 on target, only 3 goals. That's an impressive performance. Mexico had 67% of the possession, 536 passes with an 89% pass completion. They committed 13 fouls and picked up 1 yellow card. A yellow card was also shown to Tata Martino, but I think Mexico would walk away from this fixture very happy because they experimented with this 11. But Tata Martino might not be a happy man because I don't think he agreed with all the decisions that the referees were making. With Mexico topping this group, going into the second round, they will most likely face Haiti, or they could end up facing Costa Rica, and they would fancy themselves beating any one of those 2 teams and going on to the semifinals. But they can't take it lightly. They have to play their best 11. You had 3 games to experiment and rotate. Now it's crunch time. You have to play your best 11. Mexico is not a perfect team. They are the strongest team in the tournament, but they have vulnerabilities. And you saw those vulnerabilities were exposed by Martinique. So at the end of the group fixtures, Mexico tops Group A with 9 points. Canada comes in second, 6 points. Martinique third with 3 points. They were very, very good at the tournament despite not going on to the second round. And Cuba at the bottom without a point. In the upcoming days, we would see the final group fixtures being played, and we will know who will be the last 8 teams remaining at the tournament. So guys, I just wanted to give a quick recap of the final group fixtures. Nothing too detailed, just speaking my mind and having a bit of fun. But good luck to both Mexico and Canada in the quarterfinals. Guys, I'm your boy Dominic Rich, and if you're new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button. In the comment section down below, let me know if I missed any big talking points because I'm only human, can't talk about everything. And until tomorrow, I like to say peace out, Rich Squad.